Welcome back. This is a guitar amp. I'm Joe. In that order. Tweeder. So this is the Tweeder. It's an LM386 bass guitar amplifier that is super cool, easy to build, and cheap. I named it the Tweeder to commemorate the vintage Fender Tweed amps of the 50s and 60s. So when I found this speaker at a thrift shop, it instantly reminded me of an old Tweed amp. I guess because of the grill, mostly. It has a tweed color to it. Kind of has the silver stitching lining going through it too. Really reminded me of it. And it seems to be from around the same era. And so to keep with the vintage theme, I did everything point to point, meaning it doesn't have a circuit board. Kind of like the old tube amps, except it just doesn't have tubes. Another thing that does is it makes it a lot easier to make, in my opinion. I feel like there's something about connecting component to component that kind of makes it easier to visualize the circuit. But it's a great little practice amp that actually gets pretty loud. Alright, let's check out the build process. Alright, let's go ahead and start off with a rundown of the parts you're going to need. First thing we'll need is this 10K potentiometer. You also need an input jack. It's my buddy Jack. Then we got a 1000 microfarad capacitor, a 470 microfarad capacitor, a 4.7 microfarad capacitor. We have our chip, which is the LM386. We have a 0.1 microfarad capacitor, 0.47 microfarad capacitor, a 10 ohm resistor, power leads, wires. You also need an enclosure. This is a very old vintage speaker that I found, and I thought the color of the grill and the look of it just totally looked like a Tweed amp. So that's kind of what gave me the motivation to do this build. We will need a driver, and then this is actually the back of the enclosure. I've already went ahead and put a switch in there, and as you can see I've already marked where all the wires are going to go for my potentiometer and for my input jack. You can actually even still see the old leads from the old speaker. Next we'll go ahead and real quick run over the circuit diagram. Pretty much a regular easy LM386. So it starts right here from the guitar. Your cord goes to the input jack. That's an input jack. I don't know what I was thinking when I drew that. Put down in the comments what you think it looks like, just as long as it's not vulgar. Then we got our 9-volt battery. Goes down to the switch. Switch comes out. Feeds power to LM386. Number 5 is our output. That's going to go to the speaker. Got our Zobel network. And we got our output capacitor. 1 and 8 of the chip will be connected via this 4.7 microfarad capacitor. 2 and 4 are ground. 7 is not connected. And yeah, so it's a very easy, simple circuit. And I think this is going to be a very, very cool build. And like I'd already mentioned, this is all going to be point to point, meaning there's going to be no circuit board. All of the components are going to be soldered directly to one another, or I'm going to have wires going to each component. Alright, so now let's go ahead and get this stuff soldered together. Get an idea of where we got to go from here. Alright, so that's everything all soldered up and setting about where it's going to set in the box. I'm at the point now to where I figure I can mount the potentiometer and the input jack. Okay, so I went ahead and mounted the potentiometer and the input jack. As you can see, I already know what needs to go where. So now I'm going to go ahead and wire up the input, wire up the pot, wire up the power going to the amp and the speaker. We'll come back when I'm putting it all back together. Sorry for bumping the camera. Alright, so got it all done. Got the pot, got everything in there. Even got a capacitor sticking out of the back. Wired everything up. Put some hot glue on it just to kind of keep everything from rattling around. All I have to do now, hook up the speaker and put the battery in, and it's just about done. I went ahead and mounted the speaker. So alright, I'm going to go ahead and hook this all up and put it together. Maybe I'll even play a song through it. Who knows? Alright, so there we go. The whole thing resides on the back panel. Got our battery hooked up, turned it on, tested it. Didn't hear any noise, but I did hear the speaker turn on, so that's a good sign. For now, the battery's just going to lay in the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and get a piece of Velcro to put on here, and then just keep changing out the Velcro every time I change out the battery. But yeah, so there it is, all complete. All I gotta do is throw some screws into it, mount this back plate back on, hook up a guitar, and then we can jam. Alright, so here it is. It's all done. Got a guitar plugged in. Go ahead and plug it in. Turn it on.
Yeah.